Just when you thought we were out, Howie pulls us back in. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. Just when you thought the Eagles were out, Howie Roseman pulls them back in because Howie Roseman is not done yet. And I truly think, one more big move without the Dallas Cowboys doing anything, we are going to see Cowboy fans' heads explode. We really will, because they can't take what the Eagles are doing. But that's what Howie Roseman does. That's why. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled, pause, Eagles content creator in all of the internet. As you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to thank you so much for all the support you give to me. It truly means a lot. All I can say is this. Nothing surprises me anymore when it involves Howie Roseman and what the Eagles are going to do. And I always say this, you've almost got to cover every rumor with Howie because you never know when he's going to strike. He went after Kevin Byard without delay right after that Miami's game, and we were all kind of shocked. We all knew something could come, something could happen, but at that moment, man, it was just like, boom, we beat Miami. We just saw how bad Edmonds was. He stinks. We've got to get a safety. Let's do it right now. And he went out there and he got Kevin Byard, who I think is going to be I just think a wonderful pickup. Everything this guy says, listening to his press conferences yesterday, talking, being from the area and then had moved away and then being able to come back, play for the Eagles, play for the team his favorite player was on, Brian Dawkins. Not even that, but he's even got the same locker room, or the same locker, not locker room, but locker that Brian Dawkins had. He has the same exact one. So I think that's really, really cool. Kevin Byard is going to wear number 31, and he gets it, man. He gets to come to a team that is 6-1, that is already good, already has leaders, and now he just has to fit in. He doesn't have to worry how he's going to overcompensate, and it's going to be a really good fit. But like I said at the beginning of this video isn't about Kevin Byard. This video is about Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman is not done yet. We are getting reports, and this was yesterday. I didn't get home till like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, so I didn't get a chance to do this video until really, really late. But we have rumors that Howie Roseman isn't done yet. Pound, not hashtag, but pound. Eagles general manager Howie Roseman, quote, isn't done yet when it comes to potential trades. Diana Rossini said on the @Ryan Rosilio podcast, quote, I've talked to a ton of teams around the league, and yeah, it's like Howie is calling, of course. Howie is calling. And Howie is not done yet by any stretch of the means. And that was said on the podcast. That I guess really isn't a surprise. Of course, Howie Roseman isn't done yet. The question is where is he going to go? What is he looking for in terms of a trade? Where does he want to get better? I think the two places that were on my top two lists, I think he's done there. I think he's done at safety, and I think he's done at wide receiver. I think bringing in Julio Jones showed you right there that he wanted to tie that up. I think he's going to stick with Julio Jones, whether that's the right move or not. I think we're done at receiver, and I think we're done at safety. So where is Howie Roseman looking? And if I had to guess one specific spot in terms of where I know the Eagles like to strike, where the Eagles believe you can never have enough players at that position, it's the defensive line, and it's a pass rusher. I would not be surprised if Howie Roseman is looking for a way to potentially swing a Brian Burns trade or somebody that could help you with your pass rusher. This cat is about to knock my light off. Get over here. Get over here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Yeah, you don't want to say hi. You're camera shy. So anyways, I would not be surprised if Howie Roseman was looking for a way to add another pass rusher. Now, we've heard that Washington would like to get rid of Chase Young, and we've heard, maybe Montez Sweat, but I don't think Washington would trade you one of their players. So I cross those guys off the board, and that only really leads me to Brian Burns. I think with the Eagles, Frank Reich, and maybe that relationship there, and the fact that I have a hard time believing, and there have been reports that the Carolina has no intention of trading Brian Burns, but why would they consider anything less? You have no first-round pick. You have literally no wins. You're not going anywhere, and he ain't going to be with you long term. So I don't believe that for 1 second. I believe that Brian Burns is potentially a guy that is out there on the trade block. And I think he would probably have the biggest impact for any team that he would go to. Now, what would it cost you? Yes, it's going to cost you a lot. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? We're getting a lot of rumors, a lot of speculations of trades in which the Eagles are giving big amount of draft picks away. I think for the right type of guy and in the right situation, I think another one. I think Howie Roseman would go after Brian Burns. Now, I know you're saying, some of you are saying, well, that's not a position in need. We don't need, we have pass rushers. I agree with you. But the Eagles' philosophy from a defensive standpoint is always to go out and get as many pass rushers as you can. Not to mention, Derek Barnett is most likely gone. And we're going to talk about him in a second. And then you have Brandon Graham. He's getting older. They may look at him as somebody to sign and be here for a long term. So they may not mind giving up that pick. I think for the right young guy, Howie will do whatever it takes, okay? I really believe that. I would say that would be the most likely area I think they probably would go. Now, the area that I think is the biggest need for the Eagles, okay? Not where I think they'll go, but where I personally believe is the biggest need left on this team and where they should look, I think is running back. I love DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift is a great player. But I think that with the problems that the Eagles have in the red zone, that if you really want to solve your biggest problem right now for the rest of this year, if you could add a Derrick Henry, a Josh Jacobs, if you could add somebody big and physical that would be a complementary piece to DeAndre Swift that could end your red zone issues, I think you do it, okay? I think you absolutely do it. And here's another reason why running back may be an area to consider, and that is because of Jalen Hurts' injury. Now, Jalen Hurts said he didn't get his injury running. He got it in the pocket, which I actually believe him because that tends to what happens all the time. But he's injured nonetheless. You may have to cut down on his running. And in the red zone, we know the Eagles like to run Jalen Hurts. They like to run those draw plays with him. Maybe you have to cut back on that now. Are you going to really rely on Gainwell down in the red zone? I don't know about that. So if you could go out and get a guy like Derrick Henry, now why the Tennessee Titans on earth? Why the hell would they even pick up when Howie calls? I don't know. But if you could get him or Josh Jacobs or a type of back who may be out there that maybe we're not thinking of, that is a short yardage guy that could be a red zone guy, to me, that's your biggest area where I think you need improvement, okay? So, once again, I think the biggest splash and where the Eagles would like to go would be Brian Burns. I think the most area of need that would need to get fixed is running back. And a guy like Derrick Henry would fit it perfect, okay? And, you know, I was looking at the injury report. I will say this, though. We know Jalen Hurts, he's dealing with a knee issue. He wasn't on the injury report yesterday. They had a walkthrough, but he still was not on the injury report at all. So that's really good news in terms of him playing this week. I have no doubt Jalen Hurts is going to play. He will play this Sunday. Don't worry about it. But if you want to cut down on him taking or having to run it, especially in the red zone, a running back, a big running back, to me, is the area of need where you could improve the most in a trade right now. Brian Burns, biggest splash, like I said. I think that's where Howie would love to go. And then you got some wild trades out there, like some wild speculations and stuff like that, that I really don't think could happen or would happen, although I would do it. Okay, here, let me show you this one. All right, shout out to Jacob Sports for posting this graphic on Twitter. But at SI Now proposes the Pound Eagles trade 2 first-round picks. Now, this is a mock trade that Sports Illustrated has for the Eagles to go out and make a trade for a stud, an absolute stud. At SI proposes the Eagles trade 2 future first-rounders and a third-round pick to the Broncos for all-pro cornerback Patrick Surtain II. Then they say yes or no. And I'm going to tell you this. This is a really, really, this would be a monstrous trade, okay? This would send ripples and shockwaves across the NFL. It would be like 100 times the reaction of Kevin Byard. But I don't see this happening. I don't think this is likely at all. Matter of fact, I don't think Denver moves Patrick Surtain at all. Yes, they got to rebuild. Yes, they stink. But he's young enough that they probably want to rebuild and look at him as one of the pieces to continue to rebuild. He's young enough for that. He's still in his rookie contract. A guy like Brian Burns, who's in the last year of his contract with a team that isn't planning on being competitive for a few more years and is a little older than Patrick Surtain, it makes a lot more sense. Patrick Surtain, I think, will be extended and will be part of Denver's big plans. So I don't think this is likely at all. However, it would probably rival. I'll say it would be a bigger splash than Brian Burns, most likely. So I would say Brian Burns is probably where I think the Eagles would like to go. Running back is where I think they should go, and then I think corner is the most, or Patrick Surtain specifically, is the wildest one that I've heard. Now, how would Patrick Surtain even fit in there? Would you put him in a slot? Do you trade Bradbury or Slay? None of those guys probably Denver would want to even bring in. If Denver's willing to trade Patrick Surtain to try to get picks to rebuild, they're not going to want Slay or Bradbury in return. Most likely, at that point, you might as well start losing games. You might as well have Russell Wilson come out because he has a bent pinky toe, you know what I mean, or a bent pinky toenail or something. You get him and you put him on IR, you stash him and you tank. So they wouldn't want one of those guys anyways. So how would that fit in this year? I don't know. Long-term wise, of course, if you got Patrick Surtain, then Slay's probably gone, or Brad, one of those, most likely Slay is gone at the end, or, at next year, which is fine, because you need a corner. The Eagles are going to have to get a corner. They need, to go out and get a guy like Patrick Surtain is going to be very hard in the draft. So if you have an opportunity to get a guy like that, yeah, of course you want to grab him. Now, 2 first-round picks and a third pretty much wipes out your whole draft. So I don't know if I would do that. I think that's too much because you are going to have to give him an extension. You're not getting 3-4 years of a guy in a rookie deal. You're getting 1 year, and you probably have to give him an extension at the end of this all season because he was drafted at the same time Devontae Smith was. So he's got to get his at the end of the year too. So I think that's not realistic. But what I do think is realistic is I do think the Eagles are trying to make a move. I think the Eagles are looking to go out and get somebody. And if I had to guess, I think Howie's first move or first instinct would be to try to pull off a Brian Burns. I think running back is a possibility because, like I said, it would definitely help you in the red zone. Howie could do anything, though. Patrick Surtain, is it possible? I don't think Denver wants to trade him, but I think Howie would do it in a second. I definitely do. And then it's always the trade that you're not thinking about. This is where the Eagles get you. It's the trade you're not thinking about that Howie Roseman pulls off. So who knows? All I know is the trade deadline is Halloween. It's going to be trick or treat. It's most likely going to be treat for the Eagles because I think most likely Howie will make at least one more move. And there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days before that? Yeah, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, if you're the 49ers, if you're a fan of those teams, you should be holding your breath because Howie Roseman is kicking butt yet again. It is Howie season, and we're all just living in it. That's for sure. It's actually Howie vision. We're all just living in it. With that said, you should probably most likely see me later tonight for a football game. We'll see. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie vision, baby. We're all just living in it. I will say this. We did talk about Micah Parsons yesterday, about him saying the Eagles are the best team in the National Football League. But things are getting worse because a lot of Cowboy fans are starting to recognize, man, you can't say that. You can't say that your rivals are the best team in the league in season. In season. It undermines your locker room. It's bad. He definitely, and I don't think he did on purpose, but he sold out the Dallas Cowboys. I think future Eagle Micah Parsons is hoping to come to Philly. But you can't do things like that and play in Philly. That's just unacceptable. And then you got some Cowboy fans like Mark Holmes who are literally making videos trying to explain what he meant. They're actually changing the words in what he said. So it's like, Micah Parsons says the Eagles are their number one rivalry. No. He said the Eagles are the best team in the National Football League. These people are having the worst bye week that anybody could ever have. You lost your bye week, Dallas. You're having like internal fighting on your bye week. And you're watching our GM run circles around you. It feels good to be an Eagles fan. Denzel Washington. Ow. Pinky up. Pinky up when you drink all the time. Show you got class.